Morning. I have concerns about Frank Bascom. I'm kind of worried about him. In the story Under the Radar from A Multitude of Sins, I just want to read this line quickly. This is talking about the protagonist of that story. I guess it's Stephen Reeves, I think. It says, he didn't really know his wife at all. In fact, the entire conception of knowing another person, of trust, of closeness, of marriage itself, while not exactly a lie since it existed someplace, if only as an idea, was still completely out of date, defunct, something typifying another era, etc. This is sort of how I see a lot of the narrators, a lot of the protagonists of your stories. But then at the end of Independence Day, I sort of was optimistic about Frank, that somehow he kind of closed. We talked yesterday about the Emersonian remoteness, and that how by the last page he was really sort of closing the gap a little bit, and with the phone call and with his comment that he wants to be known by his marriage to his wife and sort of the things he does day to day. But from the reading last night, I'm sort of now a little worried about him again, because he seems now something happened. His wife's ex-husband came back, and now it seems that the gap's wide open again. And it seems that in a lot of these cases, something small can happen. A puppy can be thrown into your backyard. You can find out about an affair. These things can happen that can just blow the gap wide open again, and the remoteness is as wide as it has ever been. So I'm concerned. The permanence period. How different can it be from the existence period? How close can you ever get? How close can Frank ever get?
It's Valentine's Day. What kind of?
We're going to go there.
Kids worry a lot about. They worry a lot about.
That's
all this
good.
Stuff.
That's good. That means they're good readers. It's part of that, Carrie, with all due respects, relies upon your conception of what adulthood is. If you think, as many people do, that I'm young until I'm an adult, and then there's this long, vast plain in which all the truths are the truths they are, and you go on till you somehow or other just disappear.
You are amazing. You don't even know Carrie that well, but you just pushed the button about him. Adulthood is an issue for him.
I know. I'm a novelist.
You are amazing.
But I think what I try to do, and what any novelist would try to do, is find strategies for putting these very vital issues into play all the time, so that you don't think that you're going to sort of circle the square. So that you're ever going to think to yourself, now, okay, my wife and I, here's my wife here, we've kind of got a lock on this intimacy thing, And when in fact, you're dealing with another whole human being here that you don't control, who when she puts her head down at night on her pillow, you don't know what she's thinking. You don't know what you're thinking when you put your head down on the pillow. So that it is a very lively conversation that you have with intimacy with people with whom you love. And so it has to be kept refreshed. It has to be kept constantly in play, not just so that you don't become complacent and screw it up. You can do that, but so you can learn something. So you can learn something about someone who's not yourself. And you have to look at another person slightly as a mystery, I think. And that's what novels do. Kundera says it, that a novelist conceives of the world as a question, not as an answer.
Do you think that this is partly why you explore infidelity and unfaithfulness and problems in marriages so often, as to sort of hit this, sort of deal with this question again and again?
No, it's fun, just fun to do, really.
It is fun. It is fun.
I don't do anything for any answer to that question that I could possibly give you.
I wanted to sneak that in, and I thought that was the first.
I do this because. Yes, I do that because.
Infidelity, got to do it.
You can say that. After my father died, my mother had a boyfriend.
Right, and then you just keep working that out. You're working through this.
My mother once had a boyfriend. She didn't come home one night, and I was in the 11th grade, and I'd gotten my car and went out into the dark streets of Jackson looking for her, and finally found her car parked in front of this apartment house, and I went into the guy who ran the apartment house, and I said, "Have you seen my mother?" And he said, yeah, she's up in, 606. So I just got on the elevator and went up there and pounded on that door like that till she opened the door. And there was my mother. And I said, just tell me where you are. Would you just tell me where you are? And she said to me, she said, oh, for God's sake. She said, what are you doing here? I said, I just was worried about where you are. And she never had another man in her life after that. And she was 52 years old.